They call me and they're just like, yeah, okay. I left a message on my answering machine. Yeah, you could join the band, but you got to shave your head. I'm like, I'm not fucking shaving my head for these fucking guys. What the fuck is that all about? No. And so I show up to the next day and they're like, you didn't shave your head? I'm like, no, I'm not shaving my head. And they're like, okay, we respect that.
This is Joe Wong. Welcome to the Trap Set, where each week we explore the lives of drummers. I want to play something for you. You're hearing Blood Sugar Sex Magic by Red Hot Chili Peppers, featuring my guest, Chad Smith, on drums. A Michigan native, Smith joined the Chili Peppers in 1988 as their third drummer. Although his unabashed hard rock roots initially seemed at odds with the underground origins of the band, Chad proved to be the catalyst that launched the Peppers to international superstardom. Chad's muscular yet articulate drumming, evoking a cross between P-Funk and Deep Purple, serves as the perfect counterweight to the bestial rowdiness of his bandmates. Apart from his work with the Peppers, Chad's led his own band, the Bombastic Meatbats, and he's a member of the riff rock supergroup Chickenfoot. He's also a highly sought-after session player, recording albums with everyone from Wayne Kramer to the Dixie Chicks to Johnny Cash. Chad also hosts Landmarks Live in Concert, a music travel series that features artists performing at historic sites. The next episode, featuring the Foo Fighters at the Acropolis, airs November 10th on PBS. I spoke to Chad at his home in Malibu. And now my conversation with Chad Smith.
My dad worked for Ford Motor Company for 32 years, so he worked for a long time, obviously. So when I was a kid, I would see my dad get up for work, 6 o'clock. Mom make a cup of coffee, get a little snack, and he was out the door, and I was like, that is not what I want to do. I am not getting up at 6 o'clock. This is not what I want to do. But I think at the same time, I appreciated it, and that work ethic sort of was instilled at me. Like, you know what? You got to get up and you got to go to work every day and come home and have a roof over your head and food. And
yeah, how much of an influence were your older siblings on your taste?
My brother was the biggest one for sure. He was 2 years older than me, Brad, and my brother was really into all the English, hard rock blues bands of that era, or mostly just the English groups or bands. So that would be bands like Led Zeppelin, Queen, David Bowie, Deep Purple, The Who, Kinks, all the English. Mostly all the English harder bands, Black Sabbath. I didn't know that Cream was in Birmingham. This is a big magazine. One day, my brother, again, my older brother's like, in the I don't know if it was the Michigan version or section, there was a yellow kind of local insert of the local bands, Frigid Pink and SR5 and the Rationals, and I don't even think the MC5 was really going. This was later. This was in the sort of mid-70s. And my brother and I rode our 10-speed bikes down to, we looked at the bottom and we saw an address, send, blah, 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 blah. Cream was very relevant. Send your complaints to this address. And we rode our 10-speed down to that, where it was. It was right in downtown Birmingham. And I'll never forget this. And we pull up, and we're looking for the addresses. We're looking, oh, there it is. And 10 seconds later, the door opens and Alice Cooper comes out. And at this time, Alice Cooper was probably maybe the biggest star, rock music. And me and my brother we just froze. He had a beer and he's walking out with 2 other people. And we were like, oh my God, it's real. Holy shit. Unbelievable. So we used to just look and wait and see who was around, whatever. But I would read those magazines and it was drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And so by the time I was 13 and 14, I was in, man. That's what I wanted to do. I mean, I played, like I said, I played sports and I went to school and bounced around a little bit. But by the time I was a sophomore in high school, I didn't really care too much about school. I was I'm going to be a professional drummer. This is what I want to do.
Did you believe that it was going to happen?
I thought that I could be a professional drummer. Would I want to be in Led Zeppelin, the pictures on my wall in my bedroom? Of course. But, those guys were mythical figures to me. They were they were sort of unattainable, unreachable. I never thought I would be in Led Zeppelin or be in a band like that because I felt like they were just one of a kind. But did I want to smash up my shit like Keith Moon? And did I want to the whole package presented at that time really spoke to me.
It was a fantasy.
It was a total fantasy.
It was a fantasy designed specifically for kids like you, right?
I guess. I mean, here's a kid, a Midwestern kid, playing, in his basement with his headphones on with other like-minded kids that, also wanted to do that. And, but yeah, maybe certainly by the time I was 16 and I was playing a lot and I would play backyard parties and girls and smoking pot and I was this is great and I want to do this. So am I going to, did I think somebody was going to come along to some club in Detroit and go, yeah, you're the guy for my band and we're going to be, you're going to be a big rock star. I mean, yeah, sure, that would have been great, but I don't think I was that delusional. but I just wanted to do it because I loved it. So it didn't matter.
I would have to say when I was a kid, anytime I would go to a concert, I would have these fantasies that the drummer would break his arm and they'd be like, hey, does anybody know how to play drums?
I had the dreams. I had dreams. For some reason, I had the dream that I don't know if it was Alan White or Bruford, but at Yes.
Yeah.
I had a dream at a Yes concert that the drummer got sick, and they're like, "Do we need somebody? Can anybody play the drums?" And then I got up and I shredded, and I played Roundabout, and I knew my dreams. I knew I played it great, and they were like, "Oh, you're really good, kid." Yeah. Well, if this doesn't work out with
Bill,
I think he's just got the flu, but. Yeah, no, it kept me going. I was a bad kid. I was the black sheep of the family. My sister, my older sister was good. She did everything right and never got in trouble and graduated high school, went to college, graduated college. My brother was still good but he was just smarter about it than I was. Like he would, we used to sell hash, and I would always get busted, and he never did. He was just smarter about it. After my sophomore year, where I didn't go to school at all, my parents were like, okay. They pulled the whole like tough love thing. It's like, you're going to go to a military boarding school. And they took me to one in Ohio to like check it out. And I'm like, fuck this. I don't know if they're serious or not, but this is not happening. So I ran away from home the summer of before my junior year. And I lived with my friend Jay, who was the bass player in my band Paradise at the time, Power Trio, playing some of those backyard parties I was telling you about. And it was his summer. His parents had moved to Chicago, and he was going to go to college in Chicago, but he wanted to stay this summer to play with the band. And him and I lived and squatted in some guy's house in Royal Oak, Michigan, which was a suburb of Birmingham. And I was bad, man. We had a car that was unregistered. I don't know whose car it was. A green Nova.
You stole it?
Probably stolen. We doctored up the license plate to change the number, and stole. I'm telling you, man. Back then you could use gas cards. You could charge gas, but also get like food. And yeah. So that's how we lived in the summer of 1977. Me and Jay in the Nova, and at the end of the summer, we did the whole like put a brick on the gas pedal and like ran it into the wall of a school.
I thought you were going to say you ran it into Lake Michigan.
No, we got way back in the basketball court. I remember, and kind of hopefully it was going to hit, and left it there. Yeah, but we were real. I was a real degenerate scumbag, lying, cheating, thieving teenager for 3 or 4 years, probably. Yeah, it's not my proudest moments for sure.
If one of your kids pulls some shit like that, is there anything that you can do, given your experience, to help them, or are you just going to lay off?
Here's the kind of tape to use for the brick, because
you need some gaff tape.
Yeah, you need the thick stuff that are really. Man, it's gonna. Hopefully it doesn't happen. My poor wife is just like, oh God, I hate hearing these stories, Chad, because. Yeah. You could just say like this is what I did, and it really it didn't really work out for me. Like that didn't really help.
Yeah.
And so if anything, it can be like what?
I mean, in a way,
what to avoid.
In a way, it helped though, because
in a way it did.
You're a rock drummer, and when this podcast gets released, people will think it's cool that you did that as a fucking kid.
But it's not.
I know, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll add to the mystique.
He's crazy rock guy.
He was a crazy rock guy. But, chances are, unless your kids get into like a highly successful band.
Which is like 1 in a million chance. Like, I know that being the drummer in the Red Hot Chili Peppers, which have been a band for 34 years or whatever it is, and I've been in the band for almost 30 years, and then to be successful for most of that time, certainly since I've been in the band, it's like playing, the fucking Powerball or whatever. It's very, very, very super rare. It's like, it's not going to happen. And so I tell Cole that too as well. It's like, my oldest son is like, he's like, yeah, well, you didn't go to college and, you're successful. And I'm like, dude, I'm like one of like 10 people, 10 drummers that are doing what I'm doing, and have been so fortunate and lucky, and I worked hard at it, but I loved it. You find a passion, I'm going to support it, and that's the thing that really to come out of it is that like, I found my passion at an early age.
Yes.
And I loved it, and It wasn't something that somebody made me do or had to do, or oh, you got to take piano lessons. Or I just always wanted to do it because I loved it. And if you love something, you're going to want to do it.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, but even in the midst of being a degenerate, did you hold it together musically? Did you work your ass off?
Oh, yeah. No. Music was like everything. Yeah, it wasn't like I was too fucked up to play or got kicked out of bands or anything. No, I was always like, playing as much as I can. I just that was just the other part of it. And again, it was really, I was idolizing these guys that did these kind of things. And like, I want to be like the guys in The Who or the guys in Led Zeppelin. Like, and that's what they do. They drink Jack Daniels and they smash shit up and they're big rock stars. And I want to do that.
When do you feel like you developed your own voice on the instrument?
Not till much later, actually. So I graduated from high school. I started playing immediately in a band, working band called Tilt. And again, older guys. I was 18. And, they had a record, but they mostly played covers, and we just played clubs in Detroit. 6 nights a week, 3 sets a night. And for 2 or 3 bands like that, probably for 4 or 5 years, I did that nonstop. And I thought it was fucking great. I loved it. I'm 18, 19, 20. I'm in bars with people drinking and having a great time, playing music, rock music. I'm in Detroit. I wasn't making any money, but it was like, who cares? I was like loving it.
Were you making enough to get by?
Yeah, barely. Like, I think, yeah, 6 nights a week, 3 sets a night. I think I was clearing $1.60. So, gas money.
But for an 18-year-old kid, that's not bad.
No, it was fine. I didn't know. I was like, I never made money. Like, I never had a job. I worked at a paint store in high school. I worked, in a pancake house. I robbed those guys.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
How did you do it? Did you get caught?
No. On Wednesdays or whatever day it was, I knew that like that's when like I'd see like the owners like put the money in the office. There was no safe or anything. There were a couple sacks of money. Like for some reason, like Wednesday was like bank deposit, or Thursday was bank deposit day or something. I'm really coming off like a real fucking total scumbag, but I'm like, God, I can get like a brand new drum set. This is gonna be great. It's probably $2,000. So at night, stole my parents' car. I was probably 14 or 15, which I used to do all the time. I would take the car out. I didn't have a driver's license. I would drive to my girlfriend's house. And took the car, went to the Maple House, went on the roof, and I literally got like in black clothes and put on the ski mask, like a whole thing. And I had worked on Wednesday, and I had propped up the little door, the little hatch. It's right out of a fucking movie. And I went down the thing, and I go into the office, and it was change. It was not big dollars and hundreds, and it was like $50 in fucking change. And I'm very disappointed. I stuff my pockets full of change. I get in the car. I'm driving home. I get pulled over. I get out. Not because they'd been robbed or anything. Yeah, I would do that kind of stuff.
Today's episode of The Trap Set is brought to you in part by our good friends at Revival Drum Shop. Revival is community-oriented, and they feature a one-of-a-kind collection of vintage and handmade custom drums, eclectic percussion, lessons, and rentals. They're truly one of the great drum shops of the world, and you can check them out the next time you're in Portland, Oregon, or online at revivaldrumshop.com.
So by 1988, it was time. I was just in the 90s, so I was like 25, 26 years old, and like the guys in my band at the time were a bit older, and I'm like, I don't know if I can like play these clubs forever. These guys, and they got families, and it's like, it was like, okay, I have friends in California that had moved to California, and then I didn't know anybody in New York, but at the time I was like, those were the two places where like music was really happening. And my brother lived in the Bay Area, and he had a friend that I also played in a band with that lived in L.A., a guitar player. And he's like, if you come out here, you can sleep on my couch, and I can get you some work. You know, I'm working, and there's videos, and this is 1988, so this is Sunset Strip, Guns N' Roses, and the Motley Crues, and all those bands. It was huge, you know. And I'm looking at MTV, and I wasn't like a metalhead, but I'm like, this is like, you know, that looks pretty good, and it's warm in California. I had enough Detroit winters,
Right.
and I also lost my license by then from drunk driving, like two drunk driving, so my license was gone for 2 years or something like that. My friend Gordy is like, you just go to the DMV and they ask you, have you had a license before? And you write no. And then this is before any, you know, checking internet thing. And they gave me a license, brand new license. I'm like, you're kidding. Seriously, that was like a big thing. I was like, yeah. So packed up.
Did you ever hit anybody?
As in, with a car?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hit and run? Oh, yeah. I went to jail for like 30 days.
Really?
Yeah. In 1986. 26 days, because you get 1 day a week off for good behavior.
Like, when did you become more self-aware and be like, I got to stop fucking up?
A couple years ago.
Really?
Seriously, about 10 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
my lifestyle, I just did what I did. But like, you know, and I joined the Chili Peppers and got moved out to California and joined the Chili Peppers and was making records and Mother's Milk and started going really good.
So you joined basically right after you moved here.
I moved in August of '88.
Yeah.
And I joined the Chili Peppers in December of '88.
Well, we talked to DH on this show.
Oh, really? Oh, awesome.
And he was in the band right before you.
Mm-hmm.
I think he told me that he got kicked out because he was getting into the kind of drugs they were trying to get out of at the time, among other things.
Yeah, I think it mainly was that. I think.
So were you a fan of the Chili Peppers when you tried out for them? Or were you just like, yeah, I'll try this?
I knew of the Chili Peppers. I knew who they were, and all the guys with the socks on their dicks, and yeah. But I wasn't really familiar with their music. The only thing is interesting that in 1985, back in Detroit, when they did the second record, Freaky Styley with George Clinton,
yes,
in Detroit, a guy that I had played with in a band in '82. Larry Fratangelo was the percussionist for Funkadelic, and he had played on One Nation, Under a Groove, and a bunch of records with P-Funk. And George called him in to play percussion on a Chili Peppers album. So I remember seeing Larry around 85 or 86, and, you know, we would catch up, and we were no longer playing together, but he would be like, hey, what have you been doing lately? Oh, I did a session for these crazy kids from California, Red Hot Chili Peppers. You probably like it. It's pretty cool. And I don't remember if he played me any of it or not, but that's my first time of hearing the name about Chili Peppers. And I remember getting the cassette. I called John. He's like, well, what do you listen? What are you into? And I'm like, you know, like Jimi Hendrix and, you know, Zeppelin. He's like, what kind of punk? Yeah, Foghat. And he's like, what kind of punk rock? And I'm like, the Ramones and the Sex Pistols. And like, I wasn't a real punker.
Were you just saying that?
Yeah. I was just like, you know, I was name.
I heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, I am name checking, like, you know, yeah, exactly. He was like, do you know the Germs? I'm like, no. And so I remember buying the cassette. There was a cassette EP, Abbey Road EP, and listening in the... I didn't even I just drove to the Hully Gully, put the cassette in, listened on the way, and there was a cover of Jimi Hendrix's Fire, and I'm like, I know this. I used to do this in Rockin' Conspiracy. They just do it fast. And then there was a couple other songs. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And just went in, and immediately all we did was start jamming. Like Flea starts a bass line, starts playing, and back then everything was fast and hard. It was, and that's just what we did, and that's what they did. And I was like, this is great. I like this, and a lot of energy. Yeah, and I remember Anthony just laughing in the corner. He didn't join in or anything on the jam. He just thought it was really funny.
Is that still the dynamic? He's off in the corner while the rest of you guys are doing it?
We're not off in the corner anymore, but it hasn't changed a lot. It really hasn't. Just, musically what we do, but it's a lot of times our music comes out of just improvisational jams, or somebody has a part from home, but never a finished song. So everybody has their input.
Well, I know they tried out lots of guys back then, so you must have had a real connection with them from the second you started playing.
I think more musical than anything else, for sure. Musically, there was a real like a freaking Roman candle went off or something. It was palpable. Like it was this really exciting. I remember John broke a string, and he I've never seen anyone change a string faster in my life. Me and Flea kept jamming, and he had a Steve Vai ESP guitar, or whatever kind of guitar.
With the handle in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We made him sacrifice that not too long afterwards, because he really loved Frank Zappa and Steve Vai.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of stickers on it, but you can't punk rock up an Ibanez.
Has the vines up the neck?
I don't know. It was orange.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember we made him sacrifice it on stage not too long afterwards. But it was really exciting, and I have to say, and Michael Beinhorn, who produced Mother's Milk and Uplift, was there, and unbeknownst to me, of course, I left and see you later. Cool, thanks for coming. Yeah, we'll call you or whatever. I don't really even remember, but I remember thinking that was pretty cool, and he was like, that's your guy, to the band. He's like, that's your guy. I think he'd been sitting through the other auditions or whatever, and they're like, oh no, you see him, and all that, and they're like, he was like, I'm telling you, I really think that's your drummer. So Michael really championed, and I owe Michael, a lot. So, and I think Flea was, I think Anthony maybe was like, I don't know, it's all really hard and loud. I don't know if he gets the subtleties of what we do. So he gave me, so they call me and they was like, yeah, okay. I left a message on my answering machine, not mine, Gordy's, my squatting friend. Yeah, you could join the band, but you got to shave your head. I'm like, I'm not fucking shaving my head for these fucking guys. What the fuck is that all about? No. And so I show up to the next day, and they're like, you didn't shave your head? I'm like, no, I'm not shaving my head. And they're like, okay, we respect that.
I like where the spike with pain, and music is my aeroplane. It's my aeroplane. Songbird, sweet and sour Jane, and music is my aeroplane. It's my aeroplane. Flash of spike with pain. That motherfucker's always spike with pain.
This episode of The Trap Set is brought to you in part by Collectivo Coffee. Handmade coffee since 1993. Check them out online at collectivo.com.
So the next album after that was Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
Yeah.
And you guys hooked up with Rick.
Yeah.
What did he bring to the equation?
Rick has he's just first and foremost, he's a real fan of music, like, and shares our broad spectrum of everything from hip hop to, the heaviest, he does, some Slayer to, Public Enemy and, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, all that stuff, but like everything in between. And we, as well, have a very wide spectrum of music that we really like. So that connected. We just liked him, and he would make suggestions about the arrangements of our songs. And usually, up until even through Blood Sugar, like our writing process, we would kind of be jams, and then with raps over them, and some singing. But not until Blood Sugar, we started to really get better as like songwriters and think in songwriting terms, like. Often, parts would go on forever, and Rick would be like, all right, you just do that like 4 times. We don't need like... And then he was really good at, which he's always done, at finding the essence of what the musical part of the song, which was the good part of the song. He'd be like, I really like that part, but the other parts are like, okay, but that, he makes something out of that. And literally, we would sit down with him, and we would play him all of our stuff. The poor guy, we'd play all he'd want to hear it all, because he was really good at finding something unique or interesting musically, and he was really helpful with that. And Anthony just started singing more.
He's an interesting, like, people like that are interesting to me, whether it's him or Quincy Jones, or like Amit from Atlantic Records, people that know how to spot talent consistently, or like Lenny Waronker.
Yeah, because often it's easy when it's a finished thing and go, that's a really good song, but
and if you do it once or twice and have a hit, you
can get lucky.
Yeah,
anybody can get lucky.
To do it over and over, whether it's like the Dixie Chicks or Slayer,
right,
or Run DMC,
right,
or the Chili Peppers,
he just has a great ear.
So when the album came out and became huge, how did it change your life?
I became a millionaire.
Yeah, what did you do with the money?
We all bought houses in like the same week. No, actually, but I think it was before.
When you got the advance?
We got an advance on our either publishing and or merchandising, T-shirts and posters and stuff. We got like a $500,000 advance, and we all bought houses in the Hollywood Hills. And I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable to me. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. Like, when is the other shoe going to drop?
So now you were living like a dirtbag, but you were rich.
Yeah. I was rich 27, 8-year-old dirtbag.
How did that manifest? Like, what were you doing? How were you living?
Well, I kind of always had girlfriends, but I was kind of living it up. Yeah, I was partaking in whatever was coming my way. Yeah, not in a really destructive way. I didn't really take hard drugs, but I like to drink a lot, and that was my main thing. And I would go out. I was social, and I had some friends, and yeah, it was great. I loved it. It was amazing to me. It's still amazing to me. It really is. But things were going great.
What did your parents think?
My parents were happy. Oh my God.
Did making all the money make you a happier person?
No, I don't think it made me. I was happy. I was happy either way. I mean, it was great to have money, like money I've never seen before. Couldn't believe it. It just, enables you to buy stuff. But I didn't, I didn't go crazy. I didn't like buy, Lamborghinis and shit. I bought like a old Mustang that I still have to this day, because that was a car.
That's a Detroit car. Yeah.
Yeah, that my dad was like, oh, that Fastback's a cool car. But no, I bought a couple of things, but no, I don't think it made me happier. I mean, I felt maybe more secure in as far as that goes. But you can't remember, I'm 29, you know, and I didn't have a family or anything and things were going great.
Yeah. Did there ever come a time when it wasn't enough just to be the Chili Peppers guy? Like, did you ever feel like, I want to start a family. There's got to be more to life than just this.
Yeah, I think when I mean, I was married. My first marriage was in 1992, and I met this woman, Maria, on a movie. Actually, was in a movie. Never been in a movie before. It was a short movie and it was called Session Man. And they needed a drummer. Because it was a lot of it was in a studio, and we're like the Rolling Stones, and the guitar player quits, and Session Man comes in, and he, you know, we really love him, and he joins the band, whatever. Terrible movie. And I'm the drummer in the band. And the movie wins the fucking Oscar for Best Short Film in 1992.
Wow.
And it's terrible. Anyway, the woman who was the makeup artist on the film, Maria, I fell in love with. And we got married in 1992. And I just thought she was amazing and the coolest girl that I had met up to that point. And I was like, okay, things are going great. It's pretty solid, our band, and da-da-da. And I think I've done all my fucking around, and I'm ready to settle down. Yeah. So in 92, I was like, it's time to, like, you know, grow up a little bit, I think. Wrong.
So what was inside of you that kept you fucking around?
Oh, I just wasn't ready as far as, like, I as long as I kept, you know, being an addict with drugs and alcohol.
Which drugs were you
I like
addicted
cocaine.
to? Okay.
Yeah, but I wasn't like a big cocaine user, but mainly it was alcohol, and then kind of all bets were off. If there was cocaine, I'd do the cocaine. If not, it wasn't. But I just made a lot of poor choices.
The Trap Set will always be available for free, but we rely on donations from our listeners. Please visit our website at thetrapset.net and click donate.
Do you have any regrets?
Um.
And is that even constructive to regret something that's...
Yeah, I don't know if it is or not. On one hand, it's like you kind of do, everything happens for a reason, and you know, if I had ever purposely, you know, done something to hurt somebody on purpose, and I would regret that. But, like, you know, I think back to my childhood, and I think, like, you know, why didn't I make it so hard on myself? Like that.
Do you know the answer?
I think that partly, I mean, this is starting to get into like a shrink session, but partly, I think that my parents, especially my mother, didn't quite know what to do with me because my other two older siblings fit in that box.
Right.
And I didn't. And I was like a square trying to go in a circle, and she kind of didn't know what to do with that. And I'm not blaming her. She did the best she could. My mother loves me and loved me, but I wanted to do what the fuck I wanted to do, and I don't think that she really knew how to handle that. And you know, hindsight 2020, yeah, maybe not. It's a good thing that I didn't go, okay, I must conform and you know, I'll go to college and what I'm supposed to, who knows? But I was very strong-willed, and I've been that way, and I'm still that way. So I don't know if I have to regret. There might be some actions that I regret, but not the way things happened, because again, it's kind of all for a reason.
You're doing pretty well for yourself.
I'm doing okay.
But I mean,
but more spiritually than like
yes.
stuff and being. It's a rock band. I mean, the Chili Peppers are great, and I'm so fortunate to be in that band and play with other musicians and make records with other people and all the experiences, traveling and beyond my wildest dreams. Beyond my wildest
Yeah.
dreams.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, when I was a kid sitting looking at the Led Zeppelin posters, I would have never thought that, I mean, Led Zeppelin was a band for 10 years. The Beatles were a band for 10 years, like 30 fucking years. 55 years old, I'm still playing and loving it and making relevant music, and people want to see us. Are you fucking kidding me? It's like, it's unbelievable. I never would have thought of that. Even when I joined the Chili Peppers, like, this might be cool for 5 years.
You were alluding to one of your kids kind of towing the same line that you did when you were a kid. And you have more resources and you have kind of a different perspective because it worked out for you to not conform. Because you were a fuck up, but you were also the kid, you know, that watched your dad go to work every day and you did shovel snow and mow lawns to buy your first drum kit. So you had that discipline. So it's like, how do you define your own style of raising your kids?
You know, it's changes, man. It's like it changes like they change, and you know, we have professionals that help us, and we do as much. My wife is a saint when it comes to that stuff, and you know, you just can guide them as best you can. You can't live their lives for them, you know. I mean, and we're in a whole new era of this whole video. Screens world where right now my kid, I mean, he's pretty addicted to his iPad or whatever. Like I came in, good night. 11 o'clock, I go in his room. He's like under the covers with the fucking iPad. I'm like,
that can't be healthy.
No, it's not. He's not jerking off. He's looking at like Minecraft and, you know, whatever.
It seems like you also benefited from having somewhat of a lack of boundaries, like being able to ride your 10-speed bike out to the cream offices or doing shit on your own as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of stuff, that
Do you ever
was
worry
okay.
that kids are like micromanaged now?
Totally. Everyone's a helicopter parent. I mean, back then it would be go out, come back at dinner time.
Yeah.
They don't know where I'm doing. They don't know where I'm going. But and I would go and do weird stuff or whatever kind of trouble I could get into. How many rocks can I pack into a snowball? I don't just throw snowballs at cars. I throw snowballs with rocks.
Yes.
That was me. I was just the guy that had to go the extra, you know, you put a bag of shit on someone's porch, light it on fire, ring the doorbell, so you hide and watch the people stamp it out. Like, that's the kind
You really did that.
Oh, yeah.
That's classic.
I did all that stuff. I was bad. I was a bad kid.
Well, let's talk about something that you're up to right now. Tell me about your new show for PBS.
Oh, Landmarks Live in Concert. Yeah.
So, you know, we're just two hosts.
Yeah, we're
talking
just a couple
shop
of hosts,
now.
man.
You know?
It's not hard.
Host drummers talking
Host
shop.
drummers. That's what we do. Yeah. I used to do some podcasts.
Yes.
I did a few. Something to do. I just kind of wanted to.
What was the impetus for doing it? I mean, is it partially trying to redefine yourself outside of the band or just have some other kind of creative outlet?
I think more the latter, more an outlet. Yeah, something to. Yeah, because I mean, I play with other people and
Chickenfoot.
Chickenfoot, and I like to do other things. But yeah, I thought, you know, the idea was presented to me, and I was like, so what do you want me to do? You should want me to go talk to other like artists and bands, and then they're gonna film a show, and I'm gonna walk around a little bit wherever they film it. And all right, that sounds all right. I'll do that. I mean, I'm really, Joe. I'm winging it. I'm totally winging it.
If I were a healer, I'd use my hands. I put a spell on you. If I were a magic man, if I were Jesus, Buddha or a king. If I were a blues man, oh Lord, I could sing about how I wanna
I want to get to this kind of transformation. You said 10 years ago you kind of bottomed out and decided to turn over a new leaf. So how has that changed your life?
Well, I've had to be more responsible.
Did something happen to make you want to do that?
Yeah. Yes. I like drinking and drugs and fucking around and all that.
How many kids do you have?
I have 17. No.
That's what Steve Ferroni thinks.
I know. Yeah. My buddy Steve. I'm his hero. I was listening to your other podcast. Wow. I'm his hero. Wow. That's really cool. Oh, because I have
Because he's more of a fuck up than me.
Yeah. We had a conversation about it a couple times.
But wait, how many kids do you
I
have?
have 6 children. I was married once, my first marriage, and I have a daughter. Then I have another relationship, I have another son. Then with another relationship, I have another daughter.
Yeah.
And 3 boys with my wife, Nancy. You know, Cole, our oldest, was probably 4 or 5 years old, and it was just like, I was just doing stupid stuff. And really, and alcohol and drugs were behind it, and I was like, okay, I got to stop doing that. And once I figured that out, then it was like, okay, I got to be there for my kids. I got to be there for my wife. And it was hard. Certainly at the beginning, this was 9 years ago. And, you know, you're used to a certain lifestyle and nobody telling you no.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not in the gutter. I'm in a successful rock band. I'm playing great. Whatever, you know, you could tell yourself all this stuff. But it was more spiritually, I was pretty bankrupt. And so I'm like, okay, let's try this. And went to rehab, and yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but it was like, that's what I needed to do. And
It took after the first try?
yep, I've only been to 1 rehab. Yeah. I had one. I drank a couple of beers in San Francisco after one of those Chickenfoot records. And I was like, it was so stupid. It was like, what am I doing? I'm in my hotel room, and we finished the record, and I put it on, and I'm like drinking beers from room
Yeah, I mean,
service.
here you are in a band with a guy that owns a tequila company.
Oh, me and Sam had some good times down in Cabo, I'll tell you that.
Did Michael bring his Jack Daniels bass in
Yes,
for those
of
sessions?
course. No, but, you know, yeah, it was, some people get it earlier, some people get it later. It just kind of depends. But, at 46 years old or whatever, and I was like, okay, I think maybe it's time to, like, get it together. And I was, I would open a bottle of wine and at dinner, and I would, like, pour, like, half of it, up to here. I'm holding a glass, up to here, and, like, that was normal, And then playing and everything was just, like, really a lot better. And then be present for your children. Like, you can't be hungover and kids fucking come at 6 o'clock in the morning and you're like, I mean, it's just like my son, none of my kids have ever seen me high or drunk or anything. So,
Are you cool with the older kids too?
Yeah. It's all good. They're great. Actually, my son, who's 20, was out on tour with us last summer and just the previous summer before that. And he goes to college, studying audio engineering, and he wants to somehow be involved in music. And so we took him on the road and, doing monitors and plugging in stuff and pulling muddy snakes in the middle of Switzerland.
Can't stop, addicted to the shindig. Chop top, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not a life of imitation. Distant cuts into the reservation. Defunct the pistol that you pay for. This pump the feeling that you stay for. In time, I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to.
When you hear yourself play drums, does it still give you the same excitement that it always has?
Yeah, when I'm playing good.
How often do you feel like you're playing good?
Ooh. when we're on tour and which we've been touring a lot the last 14 months, and we're as a band, like I'm more concerned. I don't like playing by myself that much. I'm not a big practicer, rehearsaler person. Is that a word? But when the band is playing and we're playing well, which we have been, we've been playing at a pretty high level because we've been playing a lot. That's a really good feeling. That really feels good.
I mean, has it ever felt like it went away? Like you were sitting down to play and it wasn't happening, or do you always get it?
No, man. I'm so lucky. I mean, there's times when you're like, oh, I'm in fucking Tulsa, no offense, Tulsa or whatever, somewhere.
Get in your head a little bit.
Yeah, and you've been out and you've been playing, feels great that night or whatever. And is every night like a magical thing? No, it can be a job. It can be work, but fucking good job. You know. As far as jobs go, you get to do what you love to do. It's the thing that you were doing since you were a kid, you'd do it for nothing. You'd do it just to be able to play anywhere with anybody, 2 people in a basement or whatever. And yeah, and to be able to, and I've been spoiled rock musician for a good 25 years, since the early 90s. I've been flying around on fucking private airplanes since like 93.
Yeah, don't rub it in, asshole.
I know.
I drove here in my fucking Toyota.
But Joe, I say it because when the words come out of my mouth, it's like it's crazy to me.
That's awesome.
Almost half of my life has been like at like a top level.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like, with bands, our band has had ups and downs. And the mid-'90s, and Dave Navarro left the band, and I was like, this might be it. I don't know. Anthony was off somewhere, and Flea was playing with somebody else, and I was like, all right, maybe that's it, And then, John joins the band again, and then we have this other thing happening. It's just like, it's crazy.
Chad, thank you so much for being a part of the show.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
I'm going to go roll by the Malibu trailer park and see if Jim Rockford is home. The Trap Set is produced by me, Joe Wong, along with Chris Karwowski, who also edits the program. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at The Trap Set, and visit our website, thetrapset.net, to subscribe to our show for free. If you enjoyed what you heard today, please donate to our show. If you can't afford to donate, please tell a friend and give us a good rating on iTunes. Send your feedback and guest requests to thetrapset@gmail.com.